How's everybody today? Pete here at Spawn Fly Fish, ready for another fun fly tying tutorial. Today we are doing some topwater fun, and specifically we're going to tie a gurgler. Two-tone, plenty of action. It's warm out, bass need to be eaten, so leave the trout alone for a little while, go chase something else. So grab your vise, grab your tools, let's have some fun. Let's take a look at what's in the vise today. This is the Ahrex TP605. This happens to be a size 2. I'm just going to get some thread started here. I've got some 6/0 olive. Of course, 140 would be great. Whatever color really floats your boat. So if you have green, yellow, any of that's going to work just fine for this fly. But real quick on this hook, we're looking for a lighter gauge wire, something with a very substantial hook gap, and that's going to allow us to have this big chunk of foam on top. Of course, still have plenty of access for that fish mouth to grab that hook point. And we are going to implement a tail for this. It's going to be a little bit different than most of the gurglers you're used to seeing, but I want to add a little step here before we get to putting the tail in. So let me give myself just a little indication of where I want all this goodness to end, meaning a little cider for myself, and then I'll come back up with the thread. So sometimes it's an issue. You might have this really cool tail planned and you get it tied in, and then you go to fish it, and sometimes like with rabbit strip or anything like that, it has a tendency to want to foul around the hook point. I'm going to show you a pretty quick way to prevent all that. Here I've got, hope you can see that, a piece of 20-pound monofilament. And what I want to imagine here is if this is my surface, right, the top of this hook shank, I'm going to use the top half on my side to begin. And I know it sounds a little picky, but if you work at that, this technique is just even more useful and a little bit easier to manage. So again, I'm going to check that real quick. Not bad. Could be a little more perfect, but we're not going to cry about it. So I'm going to tie that down to where I left my little indicator of where I want that tail to come off. And now I'm going to bring the thread up a little bit. All I'm going to do now is create a loop back here, and I don't need it to be super big, but too small and it won't do what we need. So let me just get this thread wrap here. And now I'm using the other half of the top, which is your side, and you can see the loop's not sitting where it needs to sit. Let me get rid of just a little bit of this excess mono here. I don't think we're going to need to adjust very much, if at all. And now I can kind of continue wrapping down on your side, and this will flatten out my loop of mono, but it's still not perfect. It wants to twist a little and all that good stuff. Finish tying one more time, and now here's the key. I don't want to bring my thread all the way back down. I want to keep it here, and I can cheat a little bit with a little pressure from my finger if need be, but the idea is I want to slip this thread. Even though it's forward, I want to slip it under my loop, come back forward with a little pressure and trap that tension right there in the thread. I'll do it a couple more times, and you'll see what will happen is this little loop will just flatten out for us. It'll sit right where it needs to, maybe a little coaxing here and there. And again, the tension of starting your thread forward, keeping it there, and then wrapping back, and then hammering down on that tension one more time. And so now you see I've actually raised that loop ever so slightly, and it's just going to work perfectly to keep that tail out of the possibility of fouling on our hook point. So now let's tie in this Spawn Polliwog tail. We've got the Grizzly Chartreuse green, and I want to use at least as much as like a hook shank here. I'm just going to tie that right in like a normal tail. And the beauty of this is you won't really even see that mono much at all. And you see here, it's going to keep this thing flowing out the back. But what happens is this drags in the water a little bit and it saturates. And that's what we want, because that's going to dip down ever so slightly, and it's going to cause this extra wave motion of that butt section. And it very much looks like a tadpole when it's moving through the water like that. So if you want to give this fly a theme, I guess it would be frog themed based off the colors we're going to use. And then keying in on what fish have seen previously. They don't have much of a memory, but they sure do know what they like to eat. So I'll give them credit for that. I like legs on my gurglers, so we're gonna do this thing up and make it wild and wonky. So here we've just got some Hareline Grizzly barred. These are the medium rubber legs, Chartreuse or neon green. Just gonna use 2 of these bad boys. I'm gonna veil them right over the thread. And of course you could use flash, you could use some feathers, whatever you want. Make it your fly. I just really happen to like legs and a lot of movement on my flies, especially bass flies. Actually, it doesn't matter what kind of fly, I just like movement. Catch a fair share of fish, so apparently they like a little movement as well. If you're ever wondering what you should be using or excluding from a fly, ask the fish. I'm just going to go ahead and trim these right now. We're looking right around the end of the tail there, maybe just shy. We'll see how they cut. A little angle cut, nothing to it. There's our tail, if you will. Again, plenty of movement. That tail is going to drag ever so slightly down. The legs will sit above at that point, and it'll just look so delicious to those bass. All right, that's enough yapping on that. Let's get to the body of this bad boy. For the body, I did say we're doing two-tone. Here's what I'm talking about. Got a strip of 2mm foam, both in yellow and in insect green. And you can see I've given them a pretty obnoxious trim there. A little crayon tip sort of trim at the tip. And all I'm looking for here is where that really starts to curve. That's going to give me an indicator of where I want that to sit in the back. And of course, they make cutters for these things too. So if you don't want to sit there and trim with your scissors, get those cutters. River Road makes them. They're a fantastic product. I'm still, I guess, old school and stubborn. I like to just get the scissor out and trim. If anything, make sure your foam sits as close to in the middle, or with the hook shank in the middle of that strip of foam as possible. And of course, you could always add some super glue too. Really make sure nothing's going to move, but I can tell you this is going to be tied in very solidly. I'm not too concerned with movement or slippage. So now we're going to take that yellow foam and just match it right on up with our insect green and tie it right on top. Sandwich that sucker. So now you can kind of see the frog effect, if you will. And I don't know about you, but that's about as much fun as you can have, especially when it's warm out like this, the summertime. The trout are getting a little stressed. The water's too warm for them. They're hunkered down on the bottom, but you still need to feel the tug. Well, tie just a slightly smaller version. Go chase panfish on top. Tie it like this and chase bass all day. There's always a good excuse, I believe, for tying some gurglers. Fun to tie, fun to fish, and they work. What more could you ask for? I'm going to give this underbody some visibility now. Got some medium Krystal Hackle, and this is just in yellow. Of course, you could go some fluorescent Chartreuse. Again, I'm simply giving you the template. You decorate how you want. Just going to tie this in. I'm not going to worry about trimming any of that at all. And this is another good point about this fly. There's a lot going on, a lot to tie in, but at the end of it, you realize that wasn't so bad. Pretty simple. If there's a word of caution, it's going to be up here where you bring that foam over after we've wrapped this underbody. And so you don't want to crowd that hook eye. Leave yourself plenty of room. It's not going to affect, whether or not the fish eat it by any means. We're basing this off of recognition of a food source, namely a frog, and the bass don't really have enough time to sit there and go, you know, that looks like a good frog, but I don't know. There's something about the color, or there's a little extra space up there by the head. Nah, it's not going to happen that way. And if it does, congratulations on finding some very picky bass. Be fun to see what you need to do to get them convinced to eat. I don't usually encounter too many situations where they don't just come up and slam the thing. So here we are, wrapping forward, touching wraps on this medium Krystal Hackle. Pretty much any chenille will get her done. I do like a little flash though underneath. And let's call that good. Once again, just make sure we leave ourselves plenty of room to finish this thing off. Couple wraps, secure that really well, trim that rest of that core out of there. And now you can come in and kind of split some of those fibers if you want. They're going to be somewhat unnecessary on the top, but it does make for a fuller body look if you just sort of split them and then part those fibers to the sides of that hook shank. It's visible, that's for sure. All right, so a lot of people, you know, there's a tendency if you want to pull it forward, great. It's going to accentuate the fibers underneath. I like to leave just a little gap there. So instead of pulling tight forward, I'll just kind of let it relax and bunch back ever so slightly. And then I'll take that first wrap, a little bit of securing, a little tension on there. Second wrap, same deal. And now I'm going to check, and I'm looking to see that that foam is directly over the hook shank, where the hook shank is in the middle. If it's where I want it, I'll continue adding a few more wraps. And you see I'm pulling up on that tag end of foam as I pull down on my thread. And that's really just to sort of secure and not quite cut through the foam. So be mindful of that. You can cut your foam doing this. If that's the case, go ahead and bump the size of the foam up a little bit. Maybe go to a 200 denier, 210, and you'll have a much wider thread, and then you won't cut through that foam. Let me just take a peek here. I'll show you guys. Looking pretty good to me. So at this point, I'm just going to secure with a few more thread wraps. And now it's time to sort of handle the business of making sure nothing's interfering with our hook eye. But I want a solid head here. So all I'm going to do at this point, let's go ahead and trim the shape that we want on this head. Just going to make one straight cut across. And as far as where this head sticks out, I do want it slightly past that hook eye, of course. And then what's going to change now, I'm going to sort of glue these two pieces of foam together at the head, and then I can control how vertical that really goes. Oop, that's a lot of super glue, but we'll be okay. So now just sort of mash those two pieces together with your fingertips, hold them there for a second. If you have a big spot of glue leaking out, by all means, you can use one of these spare pieces of foam that you cut, just sort of wipe in there, done. Out of sight, out of mind. And again, that'll just take a few seconds to dry, but we're not going to wait for it. I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to just take my thread right underneath and start building a little bit of a thread dam here. And this is just going to prop that foam up a little bit more for me. And depending on how much water push sort of movement and action you're looking for, this is where you can alter that. So at this point, even if I push down on that head, this is the position it's going to hold. And again, that thread dam does a lot. So if you don't want this more vertical sort of look, don't add as much thread. But I think it's important to keep that hook eye very clean. The tendency on some gurglers, you know, it's a little bit goofy sometimes to thread those on. If you're mindful of where that thread dam sits, though, you can handle all that. All right, I said I like a lot of legs. I'm going to prove it to you. Time for some front leg action here. Going back to those same legs, right? The same Grizzly barred medium. And this time I do have 3 legs, but we're gonna sort of follow along with our earlier mentality here and just split these bad boys. Bring it right to the top. And now I can slip these 3 right on over. Actually, let's not do it that way. It's going to be goofy. Let's put 3 per side. I'll do my side first. We're really going to have some leg action here. Right where those foam pieces meet. You can do it from the top and veil them over. This is just a little bit cleaner, I think. So there we have 3 on my side. Let me trim 3 more off real quick here. Got this whole big tab of legs. Love them. And I'm going to part the sea of legs on my side, get these other 3 veiled over the thread, and now I'm coming right onto your side. Forgive me for a second, I will have to turn this because I do want to make sure those sit right where the foam pieces meet. We'll tug each way, make sure they're sitting properly. Yahtzee, we are in business. And there we go. So it can be a little tricky to trim, and then, you know, of course we still have the whip finish and all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all these legs now. I'm going to do your side first. I want these to come back just past the body, that foam, maybe 1/4 inch or so. Voila. I'll do the same thing on my side. I don't know if you're allowed to use 2 voilas, but here we're going for it. Voila again. And that's going to be our effect. So you could see if you tied this with a slimmer body, you'd have a really good looking dragonfly tied in blue. You have a damsel. And again, just be patient here with this whip finish. May be easier even to use an extended whip finisher if you're so prone to one, or even a half hitch knot would be fine. So there we go. Nice solid whip finish. I'm going to turn it over. Very carefully trim out our thread there, and there we have it. That's a good looking gurgler in my opinion. Plenty of movement. Even when it's sitting still, it can't fully sit still because those legs are going to just be looking extra nervous, and I love a nervous looking fly on the surface. Now it's due diligence time. Got some Loon hardhead clear, and I'm really going to make sure all those thread wraps get very well coated. I don't need to run a bunch of this on the foam, but it's part of the process. It's going to happen a little bit. Just be mindful, and then really work in where those legs are tied into. Don't want our legs slipping down and around or any of that goofiness. Make sure you hit those thread wraps that we put in for the thread dam to keep that head position that we want. And that should do it. We'll make sure there's a little bit right in there. And that's about all there is to it. Of course, you could come in with a marker, dot up the top of this thing, really make it look better in the fly box. Of course, they're not going to see the top of that. If they are, something's gone wrong, and you need to head back to the tying bench. But that's it. Pretty simple bug. Amazingly effective for some top water action. I hope you guys try this. I hope you go and fish them and catch a lot of fish on top. And again, it gives you a great option when it's too warm to chase trout. So thank you all so much for spending your time with me. Really do appreciate it. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you all on the water.